Welcome back to part 2 of needs. In part 1, we talked about you being a body, a soul, and a spirit, and making sure that you're actually aware of the needs that you have, that your body has, that your spirit has, that your soul has. I'm going to give you a couple tools and then give you some examples in part 2, just to help you actually figure out, how do I know when I need something? Self-awareness is one of the best ways that we actually know what's going on inside of us. Now, self-awareness, a lot of people get a little weird when I say self-awareness because they think I'm talking about being introspective. Self-awareness is the ability to know what's going on inside of you whenever you need to. So what it does is, when you find out, for instance, like, I'm not doing well, I feel lonely. If you're feeling lonely, but you're not aware that you're lonely, we've all been there before, and before you know it, you're like connecting to people that you would never have connected to if you were aware that you were lonely. Another great example would be people are hungry or they're agitated. And we've all had times where you've been hungry and you don't realize it until you lash out at somebody or until you like freak out, and then you're like, oh gosh, I think I'm just hungry. Well, self-awareness helps us to catch those really small sparks, like some people call them red flags, that typically would lead us down a road of, to big forest fire. It would lead us down a road of some place that we wouldn't want to be. So self-awareness is basically a practice of paying attention to, how am I doing? So you can set an alarm in the morning that says, hello self, how are you doing? What do you need? And then at lunchtime you can go, how did I do? Or what's going on? At nighttime, you can check again to your alarm, and it could say something like, how did the day go? All you're trying to do is create repetition so that you get really used to asking yourself, how am I doing? What's going on inside of me? Do I need anything? Am I taken care of? Self-awareness is probably your number one tool for actually being able to manage yourself. A couple things that are important. Why is self-awareness so important? Self-awareness is so important because we don't actually typically know what's going on inside of ourselves. So let's talk about self-talk, for instance. People talk on average of anywhere from 30 to 50,000 words a day you say to yourself. Of those 30 to 50,000 words that you say to yourself a day, 70% of those words are unconscious. So 70% of everything that you say to yourself in a day is unconscious or subconscious. Of those 70% of unconscious or subconscious words, 70% of those are negative. And you'll repeat what you say today, you'll repeat it tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. So all that to say, we are telling ourselves so many things that we don't actually even know we're saying to ourselves. And somehow, if you're going to actually be able to take care of yourself, you have to know what you're saying to yourself. You have to know what you need. You got to know how you're doing in order to actually meet those needs. Because without telling yourself what you need, there's no way that you're going to be able to take care of those needs. So you remember the story of David and Bathsheba in 2 Samuel. David and Bathsheba, it's such an interesting story because David, it says, in the time when kings go to war, David's at home. Well, the important thing to realize is that David is the warrior king. And instead of being out at war, David's at home. That doesn't make any sense. Well, while he's at home, that should have already been a red flag. But while David's at home, he's up on top of his palace. Now, for time's sake, I'll speed up really fast. So you can read it in 2 Samuel if you want to. David sees Bathsheba, takes Bathsheba, sleeps with her, gets her pregnant, has Uriah, her husband, brought back from war because he's a warrior, has Uriah killed because Uriah won't sleep with his wife. So long story short, eventually David sends Uriah back to war with a note telling Joab, hey, pull away from Uriah when the battle's really bad and let him be killed. Now, a couple things that's really important to explain here is Uriah was one of David's mighty men. David only had a few mighty men, like 32, I think, 32 or 34 mighty men. So David didn't take a random woman. David took a woman from one of his most loyal men. And not only that, but he killed one of his most loyal men, which is mind-blowing. David had thousands of wives he could have went and slept with, he could have partnered with, but he decided that he wanted Bathsheba. So crazy. When I take a look at this, I think to myself, was David so sexually charged that he just had to have Bathsheba? I don't actually think that's the case. When I look at this, what would David have gotten if he would have been at war? What was David's real need? Why did he really actually take Bathsheba? Well, at war, a whole bunch of needs would have been met. Deep connection with friends, a sense of conquering, a sense of adventure. He would have had mutual respect, understanding, all the things that we love to have that we get from people. His whole community was out there. And again, I don't think it was his sexual past or sexual sin. It wasn't just because he was a guy that he took her. I actually think David had all these needs that he wasn't even aware of that were eating at him, that when he saw Bathsheba, what did he see? Something to conquer, companionship, adventure. He saw all the things that he would have got out on the battlefield, he saw right there, and he wasn't even aware of it. It took Nathan the prophet coming to David and actually saying, David, look at what you did. Look at what you did. He told him in a parable. Again, go read it if you haven't read this before. It took someone else actually saying, dude, you have blown up your life. You have taken another man's wife. You have killed your best friend. Before David even realized, like, oh my gosh, I am in so much trouble. And let me just tell you, like, I think a lot of the mistakes that we make today are made because we don't actually understand what we need, what season we're in, or how to get those needs met. And if you'll simply use your phone or write on your mirror, start to do the practice of becoming really self-aware, you'll begin to understand what you need for starters, how to take care of your needs, and then ultimately become a safe, healthy, loving person. And so I want to challenge you to actually begin to study yourself, to begin to take care, to find out what do you need in order to be well, and then be able to check throughout your day, throughout your life, am I doing well? Am I in the right place at the right time? Or am I actually at home when I should be doing something else? So that's a short version of awareness and how to take care of yourself. We'll be sending you some more videos coming up soon, but thanks for watching.